Okay, welcome everyone to the People Speaks Out, or the People Speak Out. And it's good to see so many of you already on, and familiar faces like Val and James and Sass, and to everyone else who has joined, and Richard there. So welcome. We are headed into a big full moon energy tomorrow morning. So the energy is very intense at the moment. Anyway, let us just open with an alignment, because I've been rushing before today's call, so it's always good just to drop into the space with some deep breaths and just to really land so we can be fully present in the now moment, as much for my benefit as for yours. So unfolding everything, spine nice and straight, feeling your feet flat on the earth and the support of the chair beneath your sitting bones. So getting that really nice connection between the crown chakra connecting to source, down to the base chakra connected to Pachamama, so connected to Father Sky and Mother Earth. And then just closing our eyes and taking 3 long deep breaths in through the nose, holding it and blowing out slowly over the bottom lip, making the out breath longer than the in breath. Maybe doing a sigh on the out breath just to release any tension. Just feeling that, feeling how calming that it is for the nervous system just to do those long deep breaths, and consciously coming out of everything we were doing before today's call, everything we're due to do later, so we can all be present, fully present in the now moment where the power is. So yes, really intense times, and as I said in the invitation email, it feels like the surreality soap opera of the false matrix is going to whole new levels at the moment. Lots of storylines being added into the mix. Obviously, we had the alleged assassination of Charlie Kirk a few weeks ago. I did a post yesterday having realized from watching Max Egan that I didn't realize this, but his wife, Erica, who did those speeches, which I was saying seemed so fake, and like it's almost like she was recruited for the role, now discovering that she was invited to be part of Miss USA. She won Miss Arizona, and then she won Miss USA, and it was Donald Trump that introduced her to Charlie Kirk, and they got married after a sort of 2-year whirlwind affair. So all of these little pieces of the jigsaw fitting into place. And then, of course, we've got the whole of this digital ID being bulldozed through with the whole synagogue massacre. And I was driving back down from Crestbrookdale yesterday, so I was listening to the BBC radio news bulletins on the hour, really driving it home about how it's not acceptable to do, how offensive it is to the Jewish people to do pro-Palestinian marches at such a sensitive time, like shaming anyone who dared to speak out against the thousands, tens of thousands of women, babies, and people murdered in Gaza, you know. But we've got to show respect for, you know, some deaths that happened in Manchester. It's just, yeah, it's really, things are moving to a whole new level. And then, of course, the whole digital ID, which is causing so much outpouring. And I was actually listening to Max Egan in the context of digital ID, because they're already bulldozing it in Australia. And it feels this time that all countries are in lockstep. And I went to Matlock Stand in the park yesterday, and it did feel like that this energy of the digital ideas is it's energizing the freedom movement, and it was a quite a big crowd yesterday and a lot of impassioned discussion, and it felt like that it's like re-energizing the freedom movement in a way that I haven't seen for a couple of years. It's almost like we've just been ticking over, and now everyone is re-energized by what's going on. So there's lots unfolding here, and it does seem to me that they are desperately trying to bring the vibration down by pumping the false matrix full of these stories. So I welcome your comments, also your good news, anything you want to report. The forum is open. It's your forum. It's the forum of the people. So, Sass, would you like to start us off? I should have said, if you want to speak, put your yellow hand symbol up to come to the top of the call. Makes the call easier. But I know how Sass loves to speak, and let me come to her first, and then I'll come to you, David.
So no pressure then, Rachel. I'm only kidding.
You love the pressure, Sass.
Oh, do I? Okay, thanks. I love the fact that it's nice and sunny today. That's that's really after all the cleansing rain and everything else. Yeah, it's obviously I can see how when I say they, obviously the whole dark deep state is trying to edge us forward into this dystopian nightmare. And I was a bit shocked when I found out my sister had booked me a ticket to go to Sardinia on the 11th, which is on Saturday. So I'm not actually going to be available for the next one, unfortunately, Rachel. But I often get taken off these places to go and found wherever in these, I get highlighted where I need to go. So that's one really good piece of news, is that there's so many incredible places of spiritual interest on Sardinia. So now and again, amongst all the awful things that are going on, and they're sort of have weighed and how we're bogged down, there's a lots of light that comes to sort of pluck you out of the darkness. But what I was so that comes in on the 12th. If you're going anywhere in Europe, I forgot what it's called now. That area they've sort of given some weird name to.
Schengen zone.
I don't know where that's come from, what that means, but if we look into the etymology of the word, it's bound to mean something like deep, dark prison or something of that kind.
I think it's called the Schengen zone. John was talking about it yesterday.
Yeah, but what's the Schengen mean?
It's basically the Schengen zone of countries is countries where you can go from border to border, across borders without showing any ID.
Right, well, that's changing, isn't it? Because from the 12th, anybody travelling from our country or any country into Europe now has to, at the airport, give all their biometrics and digital ID.
Yeah. It's like once you're in the Schengen zone, then you can go anywhere you like. It's just getting into the Schengen zone. Yeah.
Great Britain isn't part of the Schengen zone yet. So when you're coming back, I'm coming back. So I literally just sneak in on the 11th. I was thinking, phew, because I'm applying for something called a credential card, which has got all my papers, which is where I stepped out the jurisdiction of the UK government.
Oh, okay.
So if anybody's interested in looking into that, so all your credentials means that you can travel in your conveyance. You can't call it a car, because that's when you work as a driver, it's called a car. But if you're traveling, which all people are allowed to do, freely roam and travel, it's under the Magna Carta, because we were all Romans, weren't we? All used to travel around. So they call it your conveyance, the car. And it's because you're dealing with all the legalese, and you're trying to step out of using legalese, like person and citizen are legalese.
Yeah.
We're living men and women of the soil. And so you can apply once you've got your out of the jurisdiction papers. They call the 528 papers. It means you could apply for a credential card, which has your thumbprint and everything else, saying that you are you're a private citizen, not a citizen, you're a private living man and woman breathing on the soil, and therefore you should be exempt from any of these what I call sort of low vibrational sort of engagements with all of their traps. So if anybody's interested in that, I can invite you to a meeting and you can come and listen to how you do that, if that's something of interest. But just to let people know that is coming on board on the 12th. And also, are you registered, or is anybody here registered with Companies House?
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you had an email yet about having to sign into the gateway, to the biometric gateway, the digital ID, in order for you to upload your tax returns and all your business dealings? Yeah.
No, not yet.
Well, that's another thing. So they're closing the gates. Let's just say the traps, keeping us wanting to keep us in the traps, or at least causing fear and getting us all to talk about it. So as I said on my video, it's really important that we start focusing on the thing, the kind of world that we want, because whatever we give focus to obviously grows. So it's
Yes.
really, really important, because all our attention's been drawn, isn't it, to all the things we don't want, and then everyone's putting attention onto that, and then that is what the focus is, and it's growing, and we're lending it our attention. So my recommendation is to focus, write a list. What world do you want to see emerge? What's the healthcare system going to be like? What's the education, not systems, but ways that we engage with each other?
Yeah.
And I can see a timeline split where there's the digital IT gateway and everyone going down there, that one, or AI, artificial intelligence rather than the original intelligence. So it's like a choice. Do you want the overlaying? Because there's so many layers now, aren't there? You notice how many layers they're putting on top of each thing to keep us away from the actual truth of
Yeah.
what it is. And so it's becoming distorted. It's like people going, what is actually real anymore? You can't tell
Yes.
it's AI. You can't tell whether it's part of the drama, the soap operas that's playing out. Is actually that person actually get killed? So
Yeah.
it's, you can't really believe anything you're seeing, and probably only about half of what you hear.
Well,
So
that's kind of what I was alluding to with the storylines getting kind of crazier, because it's like they're desperate to keep our attention gripped into the soap opera as opposed to focused on
yes,
what we do want and co-creating. Because there's so
because,
many people
yeah.
doing that now, co-creating, stepping out.
Well, just creating direct from the source, because all of us have this. Have you not noticed as well? It's quite interesting. How many young people, and my daughter's one of them, how many people I see this rising of the religion, of the Christian religion, and the devotion to Jesus and God. Now, of course, there's always been that, but not in the way, in such an evangelical way it's been shared. And I see lots of young people now turning their backs on all what they call the new age stuff, which is your everything from yoga to breath work to all the different aspects of what she calls the new age. And she said all you need is Jesus in your life, and then you have the direct source, because you only get to God through Jesus. And I've noticed that so many young people are saying exactly the same thing. People that I've known have been, doing the tarot cards, whatever they've been doing, part of this, what they call the new age, and now they're all turning their back on it. And I'm thinking that's really interesting, that all of a sudden people are just turning their back on that, and there's this rise of this very, very devoted evangelical way of expressing your connection to the source or the divine has become so, it's like taken over. It's like they've planted a sort of virus into the matrix to harness anybody that may be going, becoming more of their sovereign selves, to harness them back into a sort of, what do they call it? A sort of like a dead end, basically. So I'm also looking at that as well, watching that. So I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody's noticed that there's this rise of devotional Christian behaviours that maybe were very subtle before, because people have more.
Yes.
We weren't like in America where we're all woo, but they are becoming like that. My daughter's doing this all the time, and so I'm a little bit concerned. She's going off to join her new husband to be in Canada, who is very much part of that movement in Canada, and they're going to
Yeah.
be traveling around the world. We're going to be giving our mission on our gospel. So it's just an interesting sort of observation to notice the change in youngsters, and they're all coming off the
Yeah.
alcohol and the smoking and the drugs, and they're all becoming very puritanical. So it's really interesting how
Yeah.
things are moving, but whether they're in the right direction, I'm not sure yet. I'm standing back from it.
Thanks, Sass. And I'll come to David, but I do want to say something on that, because it reminds me of Doreen Virtue, because she was the great oracle card queen, wasn't she? Who
Right.
turned her back and told Hay House to stop selling her oracle cards. And I remember, like, quite a few years ago, someone who I knew in the New Age movement came back from America, and was due to do a mind body spirit show and completely turned her back on it all. And it was almost like she'd been MK ultra'd. She'd been to some event, and it is almost like a form of MK ultra mind washing when someone comes back from one of these events and suddenly like they're
Yeah,
all Jesus and Christianity and everything else is wrong and bad and
yeah,
like the work of Satan sort of thing. And it's like, whoa, what happened to you?
exactly. And it is
Yeah.
really quite like, wow, that is so interesting. And I actually do think it's a plug-in, like a dropped into the matrix, like a particular,
Yes.
like a mind virus. And those are
Yes.
maybe, the goddesses of the future connecting to their divine source have been harnessed. It tends to be people from sort of in their 20s and maybe 40s. It's that sort of age group that seems to be targeted with this, and it seems to be like literally
Yeah.
very contagious. So
Okay. Yeah. Well, lots of interesting themes here.
yeah,
So let's come to. Oh, I was going to come to David, but oh, there he is. You put your hand down. Let's come to you, David.
Sorry, hello. Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks for hosting, Rachel. Really interesting themes that come up now. So basically, one of the things I want to talk about is what it is. I've been handing out leaflets in public places, recently in Dorchester, and also in streets, promoting love and freedom and the message: "You are powerful. You are powerful. Stand in your sovereignty." And the people who seem to have the most resistance to my message, as I've passed members of the public, are often Christians. And often Christians feel they need to preach to me something about Jesus, and you should really read, you should really read the New Testament. And Jesus is the only power, and Jesus is the only love. And yet it's bizarre. I just don't get it. It's really bizarre.
Yes.
And it does feel like they've kind of been mind controlled in a way into not accepting love at all, unless it's the love of Jesus. Jesus is love. The people who are the most receptive to my leaflets when I'm handing them out are young people. We're not talking
Yeah.
about 20-year-olds or 30, even 30-year-olds sometimes, but we're talking about children between the ages of maybe 7 to 13. They are the most receptive, and they're the ones that happily take the leaflets and come back and say thank you. It's really beautiful to see,
Nice.
which is great. That's one thing I wanted to mention. Another thing I want to mention is about the demonstrations on the weekend, and about how
Yeah.
these pro-Palestinian demonstrators were told that you need to be respectful, you shouldn't be demonstrating, you shouldn't be assembling and talking about freedom for Palestine. The thing is, I mean, this is the same tactic which was used during the lockdown. Don't go out, don't spread, don't demonstrate, because you might spread the virus, and you should be respectful. All the people who are suffering because of COVID, you shouldn't be out demonstrating. How
Yeah.
dare you? You're very disrespectful. Same pattern, same behavior used on us back in
Shaming,
lockdown as there are.
shaming. Yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly. And where do we draw the line? Where do we draw a line? We're going to say, well, you can't do this because that might offend somebody, or it's the wrong time. You need to, it's very dangerous times we're in.
Well, they
Yeah,
had
we just
the
need.
Shabood Mamamoo or whatever her name is, the Home Secretary. So what's her name?
Oh
Shabbat.
yeah, another puppet. Yeah, just another
I
puppet.
don't probably got her
Follow,
name
following,
completely
following
scrambled there. But
following the diktats.
she was saying, "Oh, the police are going to be given sweeping new powers to, to prevent people repetitive protests, which are, rooted in hate or something." So
Well,
it's just like we are really, it really is like a totalitarian control state being ushered in, isn't it?
it is. I mean, Priti Patel tried it during the lockdown. She tried to say, "Oh, we not just need to stop noisy demonstrations. If demonstrations are deemed noisy, they're illegal, and the police will have to arrest people that are having noisy demonstrations." It's like, well, demonstrations tend to be noisy. That's why they're there. There's no point in having a quiet demonstration because a lot of people won't even know you're even there. The same tactics, and this is the danger: is that, as we know, it's not these demonstrators who are pro-Palestine who they're after. They're after all of us. I keep saying we are all a target. Each and every one of
Yes.
us is a target. And this is a very dangerous precedent if we let them get away with this.
Well, we were saying at Stand in the Park yesterday, it's kind of like the prisons are overflowing. So instead of putting everyone in prison, why not just make the whole island into a prison, like a digital prison? And
It'd be
yeah.
like Escape from New York, turning Manhattan Island into a prison colony, when it really. It's very dangerous, really, yeah. We can see what's going on at least, so that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, one
Oh,
more thing is
yeah.
briefly, I've kind of been doing lots of videos on my Love and Freedom channel to lift the energy and find a humor in all these situations. So I'll stick a link to one of my videos in the chat if anybody wants to check them out on Love and Freedom.
Oh, great. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, David. Thanks for that contribution. So let's come to James next. I don't know if John, if you want to come on, and because you put a few things in the chat and who JT is. I'm not sure who JT is in the chat. Anyhow, let's come to James.
Hello.
Hi, James.
I thought I'd just put my hand up, as it were, because there wasn't anybody else at the moment.
Thank you. Thanks for helping me out.
Yeah, there's been a few interesting discussions. Half the time, I don't know what's going on in the world because I don't pay too much attention. I don't obviously watch mainstream news. I haven't watched that for 20 plus years. I could see it was all depressing, repetitive stuff going round and round in circles.
Yeah.
Interestingly, that's something Cryon, which I mentioned on your YouTube channel, has spoken of the old energy systems going round and round in circles, and they've been going like that for decades and decades, centuries probably. But we're going on to a new track, he called it. This is all metaphors, obviously. We're going on to a new track now. So we have to build things with new energy on that new track, but that's the way humanity's going. Obviously, all the nonsense going on in the world is highlighting how corrupt the system is and always has been secretly. Now it's exposed, so we can all help to dismantle it. In my case, and most people's cases probably, is by non-compliance as much as you possibly can. And obviously I haven't got digital ID. My partner or wife mentioned she did check something out that things it won't affect a lot of people who are not working, like myself, retired. It only affects people working at the moment, or that's their plan anyway. And the other ones won't come on until 2030. And I thought by then the whole world will have changed anyway. So the whole plan is going to fall apart.
Although John was saying yesterday, because he gets a state pension, he thinks that because they're saying if you want to access any government services, you have to have a digital ID. So if you want to claim your state pension, you can be sure that they will try to put you need to be registered to get your pension, or they'll attach it to any benefits, won't they? I would imagine that's an easy win for them to bulldoze it through. So this is the thing, is to extricate yourself from the system, so you're not actually employed. You're in business, so you're not actually employed by anyone. And Neil Oliver made this very good point. It's like if you're not allowed to get a job, then that's going to take so many people out of employment. And if you're just having business transactions with other like-minded people, then there's no tax. You just take yourself out the system.
That would be ideal. I mean, I think that's the way forward for the ultimate future. Obviously, once we've done away with the governments, etc.
Just to mention, it was a very long monologue by Max Egan yesterday, but one of the things he was saying is that in Thailand, and I don't know if I think Roger's traveling back from Thailand at the moment, so he's not on. But Max Egan was saying that in Thailand, they suddenly brought in this digital ID and across all the bank accounts, and basically terminated like millions of people's bank accounts for not being compliant. And so it completely backfired because all of the compliant ones were so terrified that they were going to also be closed down, because it was done arbitrarily, no notice. It was just you went to your bank account and you couldn't get anything out, and it was you'd been terminated, and people didn't know why. It caused such fear that it caused a run on the banks. So everyone who hadn't been closed down went and got all their cash out. and caused a massive run on the banks, and so everyone lost trust in the banking system, and everyone was transacting in cash.
Yeah.
That's what happened in Thailand. So it really backfired on the powers that be.
Yeah.
And I just think that's the thing. We have to just make it backfire. Keep making it backfire.
Yeah,
Or mostly through Vietnam.
Mostly through non-compliance or whatever works.
Max Egan definitely said Thailand, just to say, David, but he might have got it wrong.
Yeah. It's the thing is not to be overly concerned or worried about it. Just stand your ground, and don't let the fear get to you.
Yeah, just say no.
Take it one day at a time. I mean,
cool.
I know, loads of people know, most people on here probably know, life's eternal, so what's the worst that can happen? We starve to death, so we go back to a better world. The Christianity one, that was interesting. Sass and whatever his name was, the previous bloke,
David,
yeah. Said, because I mean, they've been indoctrinated people for centuries. Christianity and all the rest, it's all indoctrination. Everything's indoctrination. Muslims are indoctrinated. Everybody's indoctrinated.
Yeah.
The government want to indoctrinate us. Anyway, just ignore indoctrination. Stand your ground. Be happy. Life's eternal.
Cool.
It's all a game. It's all a game that we're going to win ultimately.
Yeah. Thanks, James. So Sass, let's come back to you, and then we'll go to Ona. So I don't know your name, Ona, in the khaki sort of camouflage top.
I only want to just come back in briefly, touching on the digital ID gateways. I did see there was a get-out clause from doing it, digital ID, whether it be Companies House registering that or your tax files, is that you can declare that because you've got disability, as in mental health disabilities or emotional trauma or whatever, there is a get-out clause that you can still use the old system. But you have to look for it. They don't make it obvious. So just go down there. I'm disabled. I've got mental health issues. I can't possibly do this digital stuff. It's too triggering for me. You can get around it. So there is still an opening for that.
Yeah.
So I would say the same as if you're looking to receive your pension credits, universal credit, anything like that, is just look for that option. They've got to keep it open. They have to.
Yes.
They can't pass it as legislation.
Yes, interesting.
They have to creep in through the back door, which is what they're doing at the airports and various other things. But if you just find there is always a get-out clause, like there was for COVID, if you can't wear masks because you've got, I said that I had a direct intercommunication with the higher power and I needed to breathe it in. It was my religion. And I couldn't have that on. And people just stared at me because they didn't have an answer for it. They just sort of waved me on. So always look for the get-out clause, even if you have to pretend that you're completely 3 sheets to the wind or whatever.
Yeah.
I think you just have to play a character in the play that is, you can choose your disability or choose your difficulties with dealing with the system.
Yeah.
So they have to have those. So I'm just saying it's not a complete closed door. So
don't
worry too much. Just find a way of getting around it through some kind of idiocy that you can't deal with.
Although one little word of warning, which also came from Max Egan in yesterday's video, he was saying that in Australia now, if you attempt to go down any route of like sovereign or standing in my power, or I do not understand, I do not consent, they basically put you in the loony bin. That's what he said. They just, if you say, I don't understand, I don't consent, like, what don't you understand? Or I do not consent to your authority over me. They literally put you in the mental asylum.
Sometimes you go down the religious thing where it's against your religion, because every other opportunity for religious sort of
I think that's a better route, because I think the minute you start saying I've got mental health issues, that will probably go down somewhere in the system and be attached into you. You have to be really careful, because and this is what also Catherine Austin Fitz was saying about Doge, what Doge was truly doing, it was nothing to do with cost saving. It was to get all the Elon Musk wanted to get all the data and put it into AI so that they could tie up the medical records with all of the work records, so that they got a massive database on everyone, because that's what is underpinning. And then you add facial recognition and digital ID to that, you've got the whole set of cards then on someone.
So the dentists and the doctors, or I don't know if everybody's been getting asked to sort of sign into your NHS number and put all your details onto the.
They're definitely trying to link all of the systems, and like putting your national insurance number into company's house now, or you know.
So we have to avoid doing that by
joining the dots. Yeah.
But yeah, when it came to having the jibby jabs, because they've got animal products in there, porcine and all that kind of thing, baby fetal aborted cells, all that kind of stuff, you can then, on religious grounds. So I'm sorry, folks, you have to pick your religion. I can't possibly.
I think shamanism is a religion, isn't it? It's one of the biggest growing religions, shamanism.
I thought Jediism was one of them. Just say it doesn't go with the Force that I support or I'm connected to. The Force says no. Anyway, I shall let others speak, because it is the people speaks out. So I'll let you move to the.
Okay, so let's come to you're down as owner. I'll ask you to unmute.
Hiya, it's Janine.
Oh, hi, Janine.
Hi. I just always have a blank because I've got a bit of Microsoft on here, and I just don't want anything to link up.
Oh, good.
Just a few little things, really. I think a lot of people are talking about the digital ID as if it's inevitable. I know it kind of is. I get it. There's been billions of pounds setting it up, the infrastructure. I get all of that. But I refuse to say it's inevitable. And I know that he said it, Keir has said it on the petition, that it will happen. Very interesting statement of intent he put there. And there's people like us talking as if it is going to happen. Obviously it might, but I just don't even like saying that, because I just think something will intervene. And I just think it's really important to not help energetically it go through. So that's just one of my little. So definitely not inevitable. What else? There's also children's digital ID. I don't know if anyone's heard of that. I haven't looked at it much, but within 18 years they'll have a whole generation of fully digitized children.
Yeah.
There's also stuff with babies, which I read on a very, very interesting thread on Twitter, where they're giving them like that tattoo. Anyway, it's very way out, but they're starting to do that now with babies and work with sound and vibration to put babies. Anyway, I can't quite remember, but it's pretty horrific. I think that's possibly going on now. What else? Palantir. I don't know if anyone's heard about Palantir, that they've apparently said they won't be involved in the digital ID, which is strange because they're up to their necks in it. So it's interesting, but they don't want to be involved with helping out with the, infrastructure of it. And
I thought Palantir was owned by Tony Blair's son.
I don't think Palantir is. Isn't that Peter's? I don't know. Is it really? Okay.
As I understood it, I thought Palantir was behind the digital ID, and it was actually linked into Tony Blair's son.
Well, they've put definite. They've put quite a lot of tweets out saying we don't want to be involved in this. It might be fake, I don't know. Saying that it would be, what did they say? Something like it would be undemocratic. I don't believe this, by the way. That it would be undemocratic if we got involved in it, seeing as there's such opposition. So who knows what's going on there? Other little game.
Lots going on in the chat. There's people saying Oracle owns it, or it's Peter Thiel, USA, or the
I thought it
CIA.
was, yeah, probably CIA is involved in everything, isn't it? It's a shadow government, really. Yeah, and I just a fun little thing here. Because I'm completely shadow banned on Twitter after a very eventful 4 years on it. But I got a thing saying that I'd done some hateful content.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and it says, so the only thing I said was about digital ID, it was blah, blah, blah. And then at some point I said that they would try kind of anything or something like that to get digital ID BS going. And that's what gave me this thing for hate content. Which was, I don't know if anyone is interested in knowing what they define as hate content. Shall I just read it out?
Yeah, please do.
So you may not promote, let me get the glasses on, hold on. You may not provoke violence against, threaten or harass other people on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability, or serious disease. So me saying, they'll do anything to get this BS out there was something to do with that. It's completely crazy. So I have been expecting a knock at the door late at night, but it hasn't happened. So, but yes.
It isn't X controlled by that AI, so it's probably just AI roving for terms and just spitting out a kind of, it's not real people making these decisions.
Yeah, but I don't know what the terms were, if BS is something, because it was nothing else in there at all, but they're on me for everything I do. I get blocked out of it all the time, but never had that. Anyway, that's it really. Oh, actually, just one more thing. Just interestingly, I don't know if anyone knows this, there's a lot of people against the digital ID. The Liberal Democrats say no, Greens say no, SNP says no, Sinn Féin, Independents, obviously Jeremy Corbyn. And lots of people in the House of Lords are saying no.
Oh, good.
And, Reform saying no.
Thanks, Janine. Yeah, thank you for that information, and thanks for coming on. Before I could just come to Val and Richard, I just wanted to mention on that point about the Green Party. They got a new leader and they've just done their conference, and he's absolutely aligned to the freedom movement. I was really taken aback that Greens have really embraced all of the themes of the freedom movement, and I guess maybe inspired by Robert Kennedy and all of what's going on in America. But that was really interesting to listen to, because they have to report on the BBC all of the party conferences. And he apparently is Greens is no longer like an environmental eco thing. They've really embraced our world, and it's almost like strategically been done to get the energy of the freedom movement, seeing it as a powerful movement. So anyway, let's come to Val and then we'll come to Richard. And if anyone else wants to come on, please put your hand up, because I tend to, if there's no more hands up, I tend to just let people ramble a bit.
Well, okay. I was going to say, don't let me ramble, because you won't be able to shut me up. But I mean, there's so much I could sort of talk about, but I was really wanting to refer back to what Janine was saying, partly about I think what it comes down to, there's so much stuff out there and you don't know what's true and what isn't. I think for me anyway, what it comes down to is using your discernment. That's all you can do, really. And I think also adding, if you speak negatively about the digital idea, or you allow yourself to get pulled into the fear, which is all too easy, then you're kind of feeding it and bringing it into being. I mean, my understanding is that even your thoughts and the things that you say draw the actual thing closer to you. And if you're talking negatively about something, then it's much more likely to actually happen in the way that you're anticipating. So I'm trying really hard not. I don't listen to mainstream media at all anymore. In fact, my husband and I have started listening to the Galactic Federation quite a lot, which are supposed to be channeled messages, but that says that the idea is going to fail. It didn't say it's not going to happen, but it said it will fail. So I'm kind of hanging on to that one, because if you think about it, the vaccine passports never really took off. They didn't happen, did they? So I think there's an awful lot of stuff out there, which is, I feel like they're threatening. They're going, this will happen and that'll happen, and we're going to bring this legislation in. And I'm thinking, I'm just going to ignore it. I think that's the only way to deal with it, really, at least for me, anyway. I do understand that people feel they want to protest. I mean, I was like that myself during the lockdowns. And I think it's important that people follow what they feel is important, that they do what they need to do. But I just feel like I don't want to give energy to any of this stuff. I want to try and kind of keep my distance. I have a pension, and so if that goes, that would make life more difficult for me. But I'm kind of prepared for that, but I'm trying not to focus too much on it. I was thinking just now, I don't know whether anyone remembers, I think there was a film a few years ago called Minority Report, I think.
Okay, yeah.
With Tom Cruise. And there was a bit, and it was all about the police finding people who were even thinking about crimes before they committed them.
Right.
And I remember at the time thinking, oh my God, that's and that's kind of happening now, isn't it? It's scary. That's scary. But again, I'm trying not to focus too much on that. Kind of, and I think the other way of looking at it is you laugh at it,
Yeah.
And try and find a positive opposite, if you like, Instead of reacting in a negative way, you find a positive way. I mean, some people said to me, oh, we've got pain because we're getting old. And I said, old? I'm going the other way. I've decided I'm getting younger. So, kind of, I think just putting that little cog in the works and saying, I'm not thinking that way. I'm thinking the opposite way,
Yeah.
Sometimes it stops people and they go, what was that? Whether it has an effect, I don't know. But, but I'm trying to kind of, we have this whole thing about lack that we've had drummed into us for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Yes.
The whole world is based around that. And I think it's such a huge thing to shift. But I feel like I need to do that. And
yeah.
We all do, actually. But everyone's got to come to it in their own time.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's my bit.
Thanks, Val. And lots of people agreeing with you in the chat
good.
comments.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Sass is saying Palantir is mainly owned by Vanguard and BlackRock. No surprise there. Eileen's saying the Greens were not against the lockdowns. They were in line with the Labour Party. I think the thing is, Eileen, from what I understand it, the Greens have reinvented themselves with this new leader. And it's like they've created a new sort of a manifesto, and that was what they were launching at their conference. I haven't looked into it, but maybe I'll have a look into that. Anyway, Richard, let's come to you.
Yeah, okay. I've just unmuted myself. That's good. I thought I'd come in with travel because you mentioning the Schengen Agreement and things like that. Most people in Britain probably don't realise there's a way into Europe via Northern Ireland, which would probably involve not any registration or anything, because there's no border between Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. So they don't stop you and stamp you or anything. But once you're in Southern Ireland, you're inside the Schengen area. And therefore, you should be able to travel anywhere. So that's a way in that certainly needs exploring.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think it would work because unless the Irish Garda and the fascist police over there decide that they're going to stamp you and imprint you anyway at the airport when you fly out, which isn't part of the agenda, you'd have a good way of doing it. I live on the Isle of Man, which is halfway between England and Ireland.
I was going to ask you about that map. Is that the Isle of Man?
It is the Isle of Man. It's sort of slightly on its side, but yes, it's the Isle of Man.
Well, it's not slightly on its side. It is on its side.
It is on its side. It's that way. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, there are several people over here who are Irish. There's a fairly large Irish contingent, and that was suggested. Even Irish people who want to travel to Ireland from the Isle of Man tends to go via Belfast rather than via Dublin,
right?
Because of the hassle there is with Irish immigration and papers and documentation through Dublin.
Right.
But once you're in Ireland, I think the hassle disappears. And as I said, there is no border between north and south. And the other trick that is worth knowing about Ireland is that if you fly to the States from Dublin or Shannon, I think those are the only two, but there may be other airports too, you are actually flying internally to the States. Because they are American customs are in Ireland, at Shannon and Dublin at least.
Right.
And so you get on the plane there and then you're flying domestically, which means you don't have a 2-hour wait when you arrive at the other end, which is quite interesting. Yeah. So Ireland has a lot going for it. It's also suffering in a big way from immigration, probably even worse than we are. They have floods and floods of people in there, and they're building housing estates for them in Dublin and things like that, it's absolutely insane. But what's going on there? Yeah. What's happening is that the interesting bits of the news are never on the mainstream media. It's like the war in Ukraine. It's blindingly obvious, and has been for years, that the Russians are going to win, and they're increasingly going to win. But every so often the BBC says there's another triumph for Ukraine, and it's all not really happening. There's a YouTube channel called The Duran, which is British, but the guy's a Greek, and he can speak Russian, and he talks to Russians and Ukrainians, and balances what's going on there, and you get a feel for what's actually happening. And all the time, the Russians are making great advances. But this doesn't come across in the UK press at all. They don't want you to know that. Mm. And he also suspects that two other things are about to happen. The US is going to invade Venezuela, of all places.
Really?
That's on the agenda. And the other agenda, of course, is Iran, which will be targeted again by the Israelis / Americans, because they can't have that power base in the Middle East sort of growing, and that's another likely point of friction. So all this is happening off the mainstream media, but it's very serious. And anything that goes on with Iran is, well, with the Russians there and Chinese involved too, it could go nuclear very easily, and with Ukraine as well. If we start trying to invade or send missiles into Russia, that's the stupidest thing possible. We have no chance at all.
Hot on the heels of Val saying, let's focus on what we do want. We just got straight back to World War III. And isn't this the thing? It is like in the soap opera reality show, one of the big themes to really kind of bring everyone's energy down is this never-ending wars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's
correct.
The war now? And it's in Russia and it's Ukraine. Oh no, they're going to go nuclear. Oh my God! And it's all of that anger and fear.
Fear is the main weapon of the war. It's a proxy war.
Yeah,
it's based on fear.
Of the whole false matrix, it's fabricated through fear. And when you are like in that place of love, joy, high vibration, it can't touch you actually.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
that's me finished. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for coming
see
on,
you
Richard. Sorry,
No
I wasn't
problem.
telling you off there about. I just was joking with you. Because this is the thing, it's getting that balance between awareness of what's going on, but then keep turning to the light, keep turning to the light. Okay, that shit show's going on. Okay, what can we co-create? How can we vision in a different future reality? Yeah, just JT saying, just like in 1984, the perpetual war, it's everything is, and maybe even George Orwell was maybe that whole 1984 thing was a mind program, a bit like Revelation. These kind of ancient stories of what's going to unfold, almost like seed. It's like a seeding, isn't it? A seeding of the mind. Okay, I'm just going to come back to the gallery view. We're coming. It's 12:53. So if anyone wants to come on and give a last few words, please put your hand up, yellow hand up or physical hand up, and I'll watch out for you. I just wanted to mention I went to see the Leonardo DiCaprio film One Battle After Another on Saturday night. John, Cal and I went, and because it's all about the revolution, but it's as told from obviously from a very Democrat point of view, and it's actually quite hilarious. It's kind of almost like a black comedy. It starts out as a sort of almost like a thriller, but it descends into this sort of black comedy, and it's actually a really entertaining movie. It's well worth going to watch, and also to hear everything that there's. It's almost like they too are wanting to capture the whole freedom movement audience, and that all of the people like us, basically, because there's so loads of references in there to conspiracy theorists and World Economic Forum, but it's very much told from a sort of Democrat point of view, and they're painting the Club of Rome as white supremacists, and they've got this thing called the Christmas Club, and it's like their motto is "All Hail Saint Nick," and it's like a real spoof. It's a very funny movie, actually. I'd actually recommend it, even though it's putting money into the coffers of Leonardo DiCaprio and Hollywood and his cronies. But anyhow, let's come to JT, who's been very active in the chat. Hey.
Good afternoon. I just
What's your
thought
name? What's your name?
Well, I'm known as JT, but Jonathan, if that
Oh, hi, Jonathan.
helps. Um, I'm not sure whether I should be offended at you saying that you don't recognize me. It's been a while since I've been here, but not to worry.
Yeah, sorry, I could sort of lose track of who people are if they don't have their name on the.
Don't worry about it. I just
Yeah.
thought I would mention it's actually something that I had put in the chat, but I appreciate probably not everybody has seen it. So, just in relation to the digital ID, essentially, I mean, it is on false pretenses. The vast majority of people who are indigenous to the country have two or more government issued forms of ID. Asylum seekers, when they have actually claimed asylum, are issued a Home Office plastic card. It's called an application registration card. Those are verifiable. And people that are coming from elsewhere in Europe, or I suppose even further afield through legal routes, have visas in their passports, and those will specify what their rights are or indeed aren't. And in the event that that changes, if they are given the right to work, they're issued with a thing called a share code, and that can be verified through a government portal online. So my question is, who does digital IT, who does it benefit? Because there are not very many people that aren't included in all those other categories. You would have to be talking about people who are here entirely illegally. I don't know what their source of funding or how they would sustain themselves in the absence of work, or anything else, but that's the only group that I can see that remain.
Well, this is the thing, Jonathan. It's the facts don't really matter, do they? It's like how do we convince the masses and whip up such a frenzy of anger over immigration, and then it's problem, reaction, solution, isn't it? So, I mean, there was a guy at our stand in the
Totally.
park who was for many years an immigration officer, and he's been writing to John Whitby, that loathsome Labour MP that won the Derbyshire Dales when I was standing, and he's been writing to him, pointing out all of these things. The whole thing is an utter farce because of this. There is this card, and there's already a system in place which prevents this happening anyway. So the whole thing is just a scam to try to convince the masses that
Yeah, I
go along with it, obediently and comply, to say, like COVID, to save granny,
suppose, I mean, the other relevant question is if, if what they announced as the rationale behind it is not the true reason, then, what is the true reason? Is it to do with control? Is it something else? That there's it
Well,
can't.
ultimately it's about money. It's a
Yeah, and
big
it
market,
can't
isn't
be what they
it?
said. It can't be because it just doesn't stack up.
Yeah, I mean, people control. This is the biggest threat to governments worldwide and the corporations behind them. So how do you control the people? And this is big business. Think of all of the money. And if you look at the World Economic Forum, the big new markets, things like electronic vehicles, AI, people control, big pharma, and you can see it's all these strategies are World Economic Forum designed to create huge new markets for their big corporate members, strategic partners, as was COVID. I mean, just look at the strategic partners for COVID, Microsoft, Bill Gates Foundation, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Reuters, Meta, Google.
Absolutely, yeah.
They were all
There's
the evil
billions to be
players.
made, if not trillions.
Billions, absolutely billions.
But
At
yet
least,
and
but
all,
Lisa's saying if they want more money, they print it. It's total control they want.
yeah, and yet and all, as I say, for the tiny minority of people who may not have the kind of ID that they're talking about already, to access services or whatever else. What's the cost going to be of bringing this in? It's massive, and
Yeah,
it's a hacker's paradise. It has to be.
yeah. But as I say, it's big business. Yes, anyhow, these are, just to pull it back, these are really interesting times. Let's all remember we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we can always opt out at any time by going within and connecting to the vertical alignment, connecting to all that is, getting out in nature, switching off your phones, breathing fresh air, and remembering that we live in an abundant universe, and we can co-create an alternative future reality to the shit show, the totalitarian digital control shit show, which is being bulldozed in. And actually, yeah, let's just laugh at them and just have fun with it, and just not to be caught in the spider's web. Okay, lots of love, everyone. It's 1 minute past 1, and we started a bit late, so we're kind of on the hour. So thank you for joining. And so in 2 weeks' time, Sass, if you're not around, then I guess I'll host again, unless anyone wants to volunteer to host, in which case you can use my Zoom, and I can help you to get on and host if anyone wants to have a go and join the line-up.
Merry throng of for hostesses with the mostesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. I obviously didn't arrange it. It was a gift.
No, you must go to Sardinia. Absolutely.
Yes. But thank you, Rachel, and thank you everyone for being on, and we'll look forward to seeing you for me in a month's time, and for you in a couple of weeks' time. But you get anyone you know, send them the link to watch the recordings of this, because they're very interesting, and it may encourage people to join and use the platform for speaking their truth.
Cool. Okay, lots of love, everyone. Let's give us a wave, and see you again in 2 weeks' time. Okay.
Bye.
Bye for now.